think there's any avoiding it now. I don't think there's any avoiding it. But and we're talking about authors and publishing, and I had another weird news story, but I think we should just save it now that we've gotten off onto a good, conversation and all of that stuff.
Well, maybe it'll pop up later in the show, but
I don't know.
You just did a book launch too, not that long ago, have you, Rick?
Yes, I did. It was quite successful. Unfortunately, I sold out of books. I just hate it when that happens.
Damn it! I'm going to be.
I know, darn
I'm
it.
Going to have. I read right through the first book, so I'm going to have to be now. I have to get involved with the second book, and I'll be anxiously awaiting Jason's. I'm sure Jason's going to send me an autographed copy of his new book. I'm sure, Jason.
I'm sure it'll happen. and I'm sure I'll get a picture of Hooters one day.
I'm sure you will.
Are we talking about the restaurant?
Oh, Jesus. He'll probably take his own for that matter. I don't know what's going to go on. Good God in heaven. What's a girl got to do to get a book around here,
Shall we bring up that Catholic schoolgirl skirt again?
Oh, I have a new one. And my daughter found in my room. I was looking through. For those of you that don't know, I've done a little acting over here in Louisiana lately, and I was digging through this giant laundry basket of stuff that I've been, ripping out all kinds of stuff from my closets lately, because they tell you literally at like 10:30 or 11 o'clock at night that you have to be on the set at 5 or 6 a.m. in the morning, 2 hours away, and what 5 outfits you have to bring with you that are ironed. Okay, it's insane. And so I'm ripping all kinds of shit, and it's always something crazy out of everywhere. And all of a sudden, this black and red schoolgirl skirt pops out of nowhere that she's never seen before. And she goes, "Oh, what's this? What's this?" And she, anyway, she immediately picks it up and, holds it up to herself. And I snatched it away from her. I'm like, put that down. Put that down. That's my Ghost Chat schoolgirl skirt. You can't have it. Anyway. She's like, when are you going to wear that? And I'm like, I'm going to wear it. Anyway, it's pretty short. That's all. That's all I'm saying. And I'm like, it's like a costume. I'm going to wear it at some point. So anyway. In case you didn't really think I had one, Jason, there it is. If she doesn't steal it from me, Oh, jeez. So anyway. So what's the magic formula for your success with these new books, Rick? I mean, I can't believe you churned out a book that thick that quickly after launching your last book. It's insane. What's your magic formula?
I wish there were one. Because while it seems like I put these books out really quick, they're based on true stories, on actual paranormal investigations and histories and everything that my team has done. And my team's been together since 2008, and from 2008 until present, I've got 3 stories that are book worthy. So it's not like I just pop these out. They've been brewed for a while. In fact, both of these books that are out now actually occurred between 2009 and 2012. So they've been in existence for a long time in my mind. So that's kind of that's my magic formula, is to have something that you've already been through, and you've had time to work it out, and before you start putting it on paper. Unfortunately, I'm working on my 3rd book now on an incredibly active location that I'm still investigating. So I'm not sure how this one's going to turn out. I've never written something while it's going on, so it's a little bit different.
Oh yeah, I could imagine that would be a little bit different because there is no ending yet.
Right, and that's one of the reasons why I'm doing a lot of note taking and outlining instead of just writing, because I don't want to start out a certain way, and then when I'm finished with this case, realize that the outcome is totally different, and there may be some important things that need to go in the beginning of the story. So, yeah, it's a little bit frustrating at times because there are things that I really want to write, and sometimes I'll write them anyway. I just don't. I'm just not writing it in book format yet.
Right.
So,
I mean, how would you feel too? Like, I mean, I'm just thinking about how huge this last book was. How would you feel, like, if a publisher wanted to condense your work? You know, after all that.
I would. You know, if you mean by condensed, by editing it down and making it shorter, I would feel. I would feel a little bit cheated, and I would probably just have to go. I would have to go with someone else.
You would. So you
really
just
do that.
Okay. So you really think it would take away from the integrity of your story?
I think so. I mean, I didn't write any fluff in here. I mean, it's all.
Yeah.
It's all really what I was feeling about the cases and what happened in the history. You know, I think to me it's all important, and I don't care if it's important to the publisher or not. If the reader likes it, that's all that matters to me. And if I'm satisfied with it. But, you know, I mean, honestly, I use a fairly... Go ahead.
Oh, you can go. You can finish.
Oh, I was just going to say, honestly, on the first two printings, I used a larger font or asked to have a larger font used to make it for easy reading. And Jody, having read the first book, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, yeah.
So, you know, while the second book is 400 pages, even with a reduced-sized font, 400 pages isn't that long for a book anymore. I mean, you look at the Harry Potter series, and some of those books are 700-800 pages long. You know, and they still draw people in. You know.
Oh, absolutely. It depends on if you're a real book reader. You know what I mean? Like, if you're really a reader, and the story just moves, I really don't think it's that long at all. I'm with you on that.
And then another thing, you know, was after putting the first book out, I had such a huge response to it. You know, so many great accolades from people who read it, who really loved it. And the only real complaint that I got was it should have been longer. You know, and so that's why I didn't hesitate to make the second book longer.
Excellent. I never wrote my books in a way that long at all. I didn't want them to write long. I wanted them to be easy. I wanted them to be something that people can read while they're taking a shit in the morning and be done with it. That's what I wanted.
Well,
because as much as I do enjoy writing, and as much as I do enjoy telling a story, and even reading for that matter, I've noticed that a lot of people don't have time to read anymore. They read break at work, and you know, they might read 20 minutes before they go to bed or whatever the case is. They're just so cooped up with their busy, hectic life anymore that no one really reads that much. So I felt like keeping it a little bit smaller and simple, they can just blow through it and be happy and buy my next one.
You're so funny.
Well,
I don't think that's not even true, Jason. Like, some people love to read. I mean, I'm a fast reader.
People love to read. They just don't have the time to read. Don't put words in my mouth. I didn't say people don't like to read.
Well, some people don't.
They don't have time to read. You know, they go to work. They work 10, 12-hour days. They come home. They got a bunch of kids screaming in their ear because they're hungry. They got to feed them. Then they got to put them in the shower. They got to make sure their homework's done and so forth and so on. And by the time they're done with all of that, it's 10 o'clock at night, and they got to get up at 6 in the morning.
Right, but you can't think of that as
true.
A writer. Yeah, but I mean, I read late at night.
While I'm writing the book, I'm not going to lie. While I'm writing the book, I'm already thinking about the marketing strategy for that particular book.
Well,
that's where you and
that.
I differ a little bit, maybe.
There's something wrong with
because
that.
when I'm writing a book,
I
don't care if anybody buys it. Honestly, I mean, I want the story to be great. I want it to be a good book, and if somebody picks it up and reads it, and it touches them in some way, means something to them some way, that's all that matters to me. If I sell 100 copies or if I sell 1 million copies, it's all the same.
Right.
And even Annette will tell you, I don't expect to be a millionaire. I don't care if I get the house on a hill or whatever the case is.
Right.
I just expect to be, I guess you can say, reimbursed for the money that I spent getting it published. So if I make $200 off of that book, I'm happy. I am set to go. I'm like, yeah, I'm in the green. I'm all right.
There you go. Yeah. Well,
but I like knowing that, yes, people do read my book and they do get something out of it, regardless if it's a laugh or something a bit more sincere.
Well, yeah, I mean, as long as it's entertaining, as long as someone gets some form of entertainment, feels some kind of emotion reading my book, that's it's served a purpose. If someone reads my book, gets to the end and go, man, I wasted a lot of time on that, then that's not so good.
No,
I'd rather
not.
not have made that sale. But the reason, one of the reasons why I don't mind writing long books is because I have some. I hate to even use the word, but I have some fans, I guess already, and they're always looking. They're looking for that next book, and it takes me a while to write them because I put my heart and soul into them, and so I have people who will reread. There was actually one woman who contacted me who's actually sort of a friend of mine who actually read the first book, I think 6 times, waiting for the second book to come out. So I don't know how many times she'll have to read this one before the third book comes out, but it's one of those things that it takes me time to write. I guess it doesn't take me as long as some people, but it does take some time. If I get the third book out before the end of the year, I'll be happy. But for someone to read a book in a week or two, and then have to wait 6 months or 8 months for the next in the series, that's a long wait for them. So
it's normal, I think. I mean, there's authors that I've followed over the years, and I mean, I'm a real book reader. I am one. Let me tell you, I'm more acutely aware than ever after this last move of how many books I really do have. Because they do not move easily, and I like books. I do buy downloads. I have Kindle, all that stuff. I do that. I do iBooks, all of it, but I prefer a book, where I can hold it and look at it and read it. And I will reread a book. I won't reread it 3 times in 6 months, but I will not do that. I'm not going to lie. But I will definitely reread your book at another time. Definitely. Like, I'll get in the mood and I'll be like, oh, that was such a good story. I love that book. I'm going to read that one again. I will definitely, like, while I'm laying out in the sun, sit and read a book. I read books late at night. If I enjoyed a book, I will definitely go back and reread it. But not everybody does. Definitely not everybody does that. But many times I've waited a year, even 2, for like a really good Judith Krantz book. I've read all kinds of books over to come out. It takes a while. It takes a while.
Yeah.
Judy Collins. It takes a while for them, and they're fat books to come out.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah,
it does.
yeah.
The Harry Potter series,
okay.
they were about once a year, I think. And sometimes even longer than that.
And I mean, some of them they're different sizes. Some of them are huge. They're tomes. Those books are so huge, but and your books are interesting, I think, too, because they're almost that line because they're fiction, but because you're basing them on real life experiences and real life investigations, and I know that you also do a lot of real life research. And all of that sort of is, from my discussions that I've had with you, intertwined and mingled together. And then after you stew it all up, you write these books, which is, that's a fantastic, method, definitely. What do you like to read more? Do you read more fiction or more nonfiction? Your books are really kind of a little bit of both.
I actually read more fiction I've always been a fan of fiction and fantasy. I